Give me 1 second. I'm going to sniff real hard.
Okay.
I know. Something is wrong with my allergies. Hold on. I'm going to take this out so you don't have to hear it.
Can't hear a thing.
I can hear you. Goodness gracious, no, it's not on my finger. Okay. Hello, and welcome to the 10th episode of Little Did I Know. I am your host, Stephanie Parks.
And I am your other host, Shauna Zolman Mahaley. Little Did I Know is a place where two friends share our journeys through life, the good and the bad, while never losing our laughter.
If you want to hear more episodes, you can find us at stephandshauna.com or at Little Did I Know on Facebook and Instagram. We want to start our episode off with a fun fact for the week. So,
I'm so ready!
I love this. So because Tate has also been listening to podcasts with me, I ran these by her last night and I said, which one should I add? So we had 3 and I picked 2. Okay?
We got 2 again today. Good.
Okay. So, every year more people die because they've been hit by a flying champagne cork than because they've been bitten by venomous spiders.
I've always wondered that. Always.
Me too.
I was like, how, please, there's got to be somebody else that's died other than from a champagne cork. Oh my gosh.
You know, I mean, I love mimosas. Like, I am a mimosa queen. If you're going to bring me a mimosa, I'm going to be your very best friend. I am.
Is there a certain flavor?
No.
Just orange juice.
I'm just a simple girl.
Okay. Simple girl whose drink of choice is mimosas. You have a pretty high standard for
in
simple.
A fancy glass. If you send it to me in plastic, like, we might not be best friends.
But I'm simple.
I'm just a simple mimosa kind of girl. But, you know, we did a cork. We wanted to see how far it would go. It went outside. We opened up our front door and it shot outside. Because we are also a house of bad decisions at times. So
okay, I got you. I'm there.
But can you, like, next time that you pop the cork on champagne, be careful, because you have a better chance of dying than being bit by a venomous spider. And you know what? I know a friend who got bit by a venomous spider and almost died. And so,
that's
you know
not
what
the way
I'm
I want to
thinking?
go.
I would have had 2 friends die by champagne cork. That is not okay.
Does it hit you in the temple? How do you die from a champagne cork?
You know what? The mystery is out there. I'm not sure, and I don't really want to know, but I'm telling you, that is true. Wow. So I'm going to flip this around,
I feel like you pulled deep for that one, but thank you. Good research, dear.
You are never going to know what's coming up here on Little Did I Know.
I believe that. What's next? Yes.
Listen to this one. In France, okay? In France, where they make great champagne, right? Yeah. Okay. In France, every year, 350 people on average slip on dog poo and are hurt so badly they have to go to the hospital. That is a fact. That is a fun fact.
I hate it when people, that is one of my greatest pet peeves. I wrote this down on my Facebook page. That's number 3. People who do not pick up your dog poop and specifically leave it in the middle of the sidewalk.
Terrible.
It is the worst.
Yeah.
Just bend down and pick it up.
I'm like, your big dog just pooped. I slipped in it, and now I have hurt my hip.
Or died. But wait a minute. My thought immediately actually goes to,
okay,
like, but how do you really get this down, like this information down that's like, oh, another one tally goes to dog poop. Death by dog poop. Like, how do you really,
I know.
It's on those police reports, like another one slipped, fell, and died because they stepped on dog poop. Is that really in the police report?
So I would guess, again, I'm just a United States citizen living in Missouri, so I don't know. But I would say after so many has happened that they have probably hired a special detective that is a dog poo detective. Because there's 52 weeks in a year, so
my gosh. Walking in, first day.
Every week.
Sir, yeah, nice to meet you. What's your role? I'm the dog poop detective.
Okay. Well, I think it goes without saying that getting back into dating is no joke. It doesn't matter if you are married 2 years or 21 years. It is a situation with great vulnerability and insecurity. I can say with all transparency, I was not good at it.
What?
I was not good at it. This week, our conversation is a glimpse into the awkward firsts of dating, putting ourselves back in the game, the dating game. Today is our second podcast on our series, The Firsts.
With some still really messed up thoughts about men, in all honesty, and hearts that were at one time hard as stone and crumbled pieces, we're here to tell the tales. Thank you for joining us today as we talk about our firsts in dating. Like we've said before, if this is not your situation, be grateful. But maybe it's job hunting, or maybe you've moved to a new city and you are friend dating. Whatever it is, it's awkward, but not the worst thing. We can do what we do best now. And you know what that is, Steph?
Tell me.
Laugh.
I knew it. I knew it. I love it. Okay, Shauna, so we're going to do dating. We're going to start with advice. So what is, like, because you and I both know, we have women that we know, men that we know, all kinds of situations that are happening where they're going back on their first date.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, they are.
So what would be some of your best advice for going on the first date?
And the first date, I would, I feel like for my own experience, I would tell them what to do and what not to do. So with that being said, I would say what to do. I would encourage them to do group stuff, hang with friends. I don't do this one-on-one stuff for the first time. It's like there's too many things that could go wrong. Too much awkwardness, right? I feel like it's go out with people that you know, that you like, makes you feel comfortable. You're in public. But this is the thing. This is what I did that I think was a good thing. Let them have it from the get-go. I came and I...
What do you mean by it?
Let me dissect that. Thank you.
Okay. Because if that is your advice and people shut off right then, we are going to have to be answering to some things tomorrow. Okay.
That's great. Thank you for that insight. I will explain myself.
Okay.
What I mean by that is they're either going to like you or they're not. It's the first date. Your heart's not in it. Your emotions are not wrapped up in it. So let them know the story. So for me, I told Antoine from the get-go, first date, hey, I've been married before. I come with a lot of baggage. I have a lot of trauma that I've experienced. So you're either going to love me or you're going to hate me from the get-go. So if you don't want that, I would not blame you. But at least they're going to know from the get-go. And then it completely erases and eradicates any questions later. That's like, oh, when should I tell him this? And by then it's probably going to be like, oh, it's too late. You're kind of getting into it. So let him have it. Let him have it. That's what I mean.
What you mean, the truth?
The truth.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So how about you? What would your advice be?
Okay. So some of this is tried and true that I've experienced and done myself, and some of it is experiences that I've heard about.
Okay.
So you can
choose. Is that a quote unquote I've heard about? Like a friend did it? Or is this really? Okay.
No, like in close proximity to myself.
Okay.
So you can decide what was mine and what's not. I will not tell. That's just how that's going to go.
Okay.
Okay. So one of my best advice is the very first thing is make it short and sweet. Do not sign up to go to dinner and a movie.
Good one. I agree.
Don't do that. You have relegated yourself to a huge amount of time, and it could be really awkward. Just make it short and sweet. And then if you wanted to go to a second date or a third date, whatever, then you could go a little bit fancier, whatever. I think coffee dates are great. I think happy hours are really good. I think walking like, not a secluded trail because, again, murderers, but I think like doing little things like that. Make it short and sweet, not dinner and a movie.
I'm 100% behind you so far, my friend.
Okay. The other thing is drive yourself. Do not get picked up. Do not do any of that nonsense. You drive yourself, okay? Be yourself. Like you said, tell the truth. Don't be hiding any kind of things. And I will tell you that men need to follow that same rule of thumb. I was sitting at a lunch date, again, short and sweet. He asked me if I had been divorced. I said I had. And he looked at me and he held up 3 fingers. And I was like, what do you mean? And he said, I've been divorced 3 times.
Oh.
And yeah, he did. And
so
I said,
he kind of like flipped the script on you right there.
He did. He told me right away. Okay. So I was saying internally, girl, you better run. You better run real fast. You better go. Like, don't even finish. I remember I had cheese soup. It was winter. I had cheese soup. And I said, leave your soup, run. What I did, I stayed. I listened.
Good for you.
He was a good man. Whatever.
Good for you.
But I will tell you, I know I was divorced 3 times. That mystery was solved really quickly. Okay. And here's the other thing. Okay. I need all my people to listen to this. Tell somebody where you're going.
Agreed.
Give them a code word.
Okay.
So if by chance you need to get out, you're in a sticky situation, you are uncomfortable, you're just done, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. You are ready to go. You text that code word and you're out. You're out. Like, they can call you, they can call the restaurant, they can set something on fire to get you out of there. It doesn't matter. But you need to have a code word.
I totally agree with you on that. I think that's a great insight. Okay, so I have a question for you that's totally off the grid and it's not premeditated. Ready?
Okay.
Your opinion, first date, do you let the other person purchase coffee, food, drink, whatever? Do you kind of own that yourself to keep the control? How do you approach this?
Honestly, I think it is a situation decision.
How do you base your situations?
If there's some, it really just kind of depends. It really does. I always go in with the premise of I am a strong, independent woman. I do not need anybody to buy my drinks.
Right.
However, I'm not going to be mad. So next is, what was a best first date that you did go on, but the caveat is it can't be with your spouse?
True. Okay. So I really, again, I have not dated a lot. I'm just not a big dater. I loathe dating. This will come out a little bit more, but this is like one of my pet peeve topics because I just hate dating. So,
okay. Right.
Set, right? Stage set. One of my best first dates, though, was with a guy who we were set up together on a blind date. The thing is, he wasn't in Seattle. So we had a mutual friend that we both trusted, connected us via Facebook Messenger. It wasn't even via text. Facebook Messenger only. He flies out to Seattle. He gets his own hotel room downtown for 4 days.
Oh.
That's not a cheap penny.
This is like the Bachelor meeting.
I know.
Oh my gosh. It's like the fantasy suite just happened. Okay. Okay.
If only we got to that part. We didn't.
Right. Okay.
But he's just a very nice guy, extreme gentleman, but the man knew what he wanted, and that was marriage. And I'm like, I don't even know if I want to get back on this train. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So we went to sushi. We went on ferry rides. We had these conversations. He helped me just even like realizing what I really wanted. He was just an extreme gentleman. He wanted to meet all of my friends at that time. And he's that kind of guy that like you wish that your daughter would meet and marry. He just wasn't for me. Aww. It wasn't the right time. I wasn't in the right space. But he blew me away as a respectable man, as somebody who went all in for it, as somebody that, like, he not only purchased his flight, his hotel room, but he purchased all of our food. He's even the guy that, like, would order for us because he wanted to just Like, some women can take that like, I gotta order my own food. But I was just like, oh no, this guy really he just wants to try things with me. He wants to be nice and he wants to be romantic.
Absolutely.
And he wants to just get to know me, right? So I just really appreciated him because he really blew away all of my expectations previously. And he also, he even told me afterwards when I didn't even know if I was willing to go through this again. By this, I mean dating. And he was like, you're somebody I would be willing to wait for. And he wanted to get married like the next month. Like that's how eager he was. But he's like, you know, I know that you have gone through a lot and that you're really hurting and you're trying to figure this out, but like you'd be somebody I'd be willing to wait for. And I'm like, you're like an angel, man.
Yeah, yeah.
But alas, I respected him too much to try to make something work that I knew wasn't at the time. So I had to tell him too, but I just wasn't ready. But he was a great, great dude.
Oh, man. You know, okay, so you telling me your story and then you ask me my question about pain or not pain. Yeah. I had a patient who was so good to me when I was practicing at the medical spa. And she was like 77, neat lady. Like she really and truly was a friend of mine. Like loved her so much. And so sweet about she was a widow, but did have a friend, and they'd been friends for quite a while. But she was like, you know, he knows my family, but you know, all of that kind of stuff. But was super sweet about my love story with Thomas. And so we were just talking about some things, and about I had made a mention about like, but I am still a strong, independent woman. And she said, I love it that you are. I love that you are, but do not lose your femininity in that, trying to be that strong woman.
That is a great comment.
And so I think maybe to wrap all of that up, to go, yes, we are strong and independent, but we also don't forget this other side of us that is this very feminine side, very a side that really can receive that without it coming against us and causing us to be weak, but allowing in that femininity, that man to be the man that he's supposed to be as well.
Yes, I think you said it very, very well. Being a strong woman looks different to different people.
Right.
Oftentimes when I hear the word or the words, the phrase being a strong woman, I hear it with the undertone of domineering, of overpowering, of loud, of standing up for what you believe is right and making sure everybody knows it. When in all reality, I think that's covering up extreme insecurity.
Agreed.
So I think being a strong woman actually means you know who you are in your identity, in your own being and flesh so well that you can allow other people to do and be their own selves, right? And they can treat you in a respectful way, because it's a respectful gesture to pay as a man for a woman's meal, or to open a door, or to pull out it's a respectful gesture. It's not because you can't. But if you're so hurt and insecure about who you are and in yourself, then that's going to come out in a demonstrative way. And I think that lady's comment was very enlightening too, because it's true. Like, don't lose your femininity, but don't lose who you really are because you're trying to cover up something that you're so insecure about.
Okay.
And I need I need to hear your story. I need to hear your best story on your first date. Not your spouse, though.
No. I'm going to tell you, I went through real manic moments is the best way that I know how to talk about it, where I was like, okay, I am going to date. I'm going to go out. I'm going to have fun. It's going to be a rockin' good time. And yes, okay. And then I'd put some wheels into motion. Okay. And then I would get really scared and I'd be like, no. I don't want to do this. I'm going to back up. And I would say, like, if I was talking to somebody or whatever, I'd be like, you have to give me 30 days. Like, don't talk to me. Don't text me. Don't reach out to me. I need to get back with the Lord. I need to be quiet in my spirit. I need to go for walks. Like, and then I kind of wanted to, and I had a good time with it, but then I would get really scared or intimidated by it. And like, I just wasn't Lisa calls my summer of 16 like the summer of fun. And then, like then the fall of 16, like I shut everything down, like nothing, So I will tell you, I can think of a really great first date because he, like when we were talking at the beginning, he was like, what things do you love? Like, what is it? Whatever. And anybody who knows me knows that spring and early summer in Kansas City is my jam. Like it's the best. It's just the best. And if you take me to a rooftop bar that has live music and the weather is perfect and my hair looks nice and isn't humid and if I'm not feeling bloated in my clothes.
That's a lot of ifs, my friend. This has to be like all the stars are aligning right now.
Let me tell you how many times this has actually worked itself out. So it is not, it doesn't have to be a miracle. It happened. I love it. So he was so funny and so nice. We went to this rooftop bar. There was music going. We had a table off to the side, and the waitress came over and he said, "Is she not the most beautiful person you have seen today?" And I'm like, whoa. I mean, just sweet. And he just said funny things and sweet things. And and we just laughed the whole time. And I'm going to tell you, and that was actually an impromptu date. Our real date was actually going to be the next day.
Oh, you can't beat it.
Oh, I know. So he said to me, I was really counting on kissing you tomorrow. And I said, well, you're kissing me tonight. I kissed him right in the parking lot against my car, my Subaru. Yes, I did.
So what happened?
But, I really don't know.
He fizzled out when you told him, give me 30 days.
Yeah. He said, oh my gosh, you're one of those girls. No, he was just, it just didn't. I think he was like a professor at KU or something. I can't remember what he did there, but it just didn't work. So Shauna, we talked about great first dates, and wow, that was a good one for you. So we know that there's always a yin to the yang. So tell me, what was a worst first date for you?
For me, again, I didn't date a whole lot, but I would say the worst date that I went on were the ones I never went on. And I mean that because I was in such a dysfunctional, manipulative, overbearing roommate situation that I was afraid to create any new friendships, and I was afraid to create any type of dating relationships for fear of what my life would be like when I got back home.
Oh.
And so for me, it wasn't until I was able to actually move out of that situation and get out of my DEFCON 5 lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Because again, at this point, I was working on my boundaries, which weren't that great, right? Because if I did, then I would have been like, who cares? I'm going to go do me, right?
Right.
But it was just this miserable situation where I could not do me. And so I would say, in a way to answer that question completely different, would just be like, my worst dates were the ones I probably never went on. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Your turn.
Okay.
Your worst dates.
So you know what? There's been a couple, actually. Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you two.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm gonna tell you, one of them led me to Thomas. So one of them was a nurse that I was set up with. He worked at KU Med Center. And so one day after work, and it was right before the holidays. So it was kind of wintry, all of this kind of stuff. So we met at a coffee shop right by the hospital.
Okay.
That he was working at. Okay. And so super nice guy. Like he had asked me questions that was like really like a girlfriend question, like you're sitting down with your girlfriends asking questions. And I was like, okay, he's in touch with his feelings. I like that. That's good for me. Oh my gosh. We went to Starbucks. We ordered coffee, and he showed me go-kart racing videos of him on YouTube the entire time. The entire time. Now, let me tell you this. You can fake some enthusiasm for a little bit of time.
Yes, you can.
But you cannot fake it for 30, 45 minutes.
How'd you do that?
And again, if I am lying, I am dying. I had a woman who was watching us, like an older lady who was still like bundled up in her coat. She looked at me from across the coffee shop and she mouthed to me, "I am sorry." And I was like, oh my gosh, get me out of here. It might have been after that day where I figured out, like, oh my gosh, we have got to put some parameters around this because I was stuck in a well and nobody was going to. Nobody was.
Without a voice.
So let me tell you, you think that's bad. Here is the truth of this one, okay? So one of my best friends and I, we love to go listen to music. We love it. So we had sat down and had watched this band play music. They had stopped playing. And I was like, oh, no. Like, we're here to listen to music. So I called over the singer, the guitar, and he was a singer. And I was like, my friend and I are here to listen to music. So, like, please play more music. And he's like, we're done. He said, but let me buy you a drink. And at this part, the empowered me was like, yeah, I think you should. Like, if that's going to make it better, I guess. And so he was such a jerk, though. He didn't even buy her drink. He only bought mine. It was not cool. So then he was like, you know, we're going to come back and we play here, blah, 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 blah. And then he said, I would really like to take a picture with you to show my buddies, you know, who I met tonight. And I said to him, for another drink. Like, if you want to take my picture. I know. Sometimes I was so gutsy. Like, I don't even know who I am sometimes. He said, I want to send it to you. What's your phone number? So that's how he got my phone number.
Conniving.
I know those band people. And now, listen, I also need to make it known that it wasn't like in the 90s and it wasn't like Guns N' Roses. That sexy Axl Rose, that wasn't him. I just need to put that out there. So text. And he was so polite. He really was. And so I was on the road a lot and I was traveling a lot. And so he said, I would really like to take you to happy hour on Friday. And I was like, okay, because you know what? I actually had another date with a retired Marine at 10 o'clock that night. And I was like, I can squeeze on a happy hour. Of course I can. And
player.
So I know. Again, I don't know who I am sometimes. And so meet him for happy hour. Everything's going really well. Now, my best friend is meeting us there, and my son is meeting us there. I am never ashamed of being in a public place and having one of my people come and meet me there. No, I always.
That's a good sign.
And I'm like, come join me. I don't really care because I can leave with you. Like, no pressure, whatever. So I knew all of that stuff was happening. So I was kind of like, whatever. So I will tell you this again. If I am lying, I am dying. I said, so I'm just so curious. What is your story? I said this. Are you married, divorced, widowed? Like, what's your story? I had never in my life asked that question, ever. And he said he reaches across the table and he holds onto my hand. And I'm like, what are you doing? Because I felt like infringed on my place. And he said, that's what I wanted to talk to you about tonight.
Wow.
And I was like, excuse me? And he said, I am actually married. And I wanted to know if I could hook you up and I could see you twice a week and I would make it worth your while.
Oh.
He wanted me to be his pretty woman.
God.
Yes.
You should have need him in the kahunas right there. Right then and there.
I said to him, I am not that kind of girl. I said, no way, shape, or form would I even entertain that. And I find it very disrespecting. So, no, you have to go. Like, I am so like, no. At that time, oh my gosh. So that was it. So that was like 8:30. My people show up. We have a good time. So we're driving to go meet this retired Marine. And by the time I met Thomas, I drove. So my best friend went with me. We are driving like 20 minutes to this other place to go see him. I really thought the entire species of male were jerks at this point. I was like, yep. I think you're mean. I think you're jerks. I think you're cheaters. All of these things that I was like, get out of here. Just get out of here.
Yeah.
And so that's who Tom met. I walked in the bar and he was sitting there and he looked at me and I walked in and I was like, hey, I was just like.
Arms wide open.
You know what? Come at me. I dare you right now. I dare you with those sexy shoulders and that great big dimple. You're not getting anywhere with me. Like, I was like, oh no. But I'm going to tell you what, so kind. He listened the whole night. We told stories. We laughed. He talked about himself, all of this stuff. And when we left, he hugged me and I was like, oh my gosh, hug me again. Like that's how I felt when we left.
You started it off, so you might as well just keep going with that. I want to hear more about your first date with Tom. Okay.
So now I'm going to go into all of that great advice that I gave at the beginning.
You didn't do it, did you?
No.
Yeah,
no.
me neither.
I could, no. So we met at a rooftop bar in the middle of Kansas City. It's rated one of the best bars around. Like it has tiki torches and fire pits and live music, and it's in the middle of downtown and like just such a great vibe. So when we sat down, he was like, you guys, have you eaten? We had not eaten. She had come from another happy hour. I had come from, the debacle happy hour. And so he ordered hummus, which was so sweet, and something else. I don't remember what else. And we sat and drank wine, and we just had the best time. We did not leave that bar until 2:00. Okay. Mm-hmm. And just chatted, it was just, and really, I wasn't for sure. And then, he hugged me. So that was that. So I'm going to say it transferred over to Saturday morning, like at 9:00, I get a text from him and he said, I hope I passed the interview process. I would like to take you out tonight by yourself. And
Good
I
move,
was like,
sir.
I know. And it made me laugh the way that he said it. And I was like, okay. Yeah, I actually want to see you again. And so he said, I will pick you up at 4:00. And I was like, oh no.
Rule broken.
Oh, no.
Number one.
I will tell you, honest to God, I do not know if I had rode in a car with a man more than 5 times before that. Like, yeah. Honestly, did not co-pilot, passenger, anything.
Yeah.
So he comes to my door, so he knows where I live. Wow. And picked me up. So I am totally, at his disposal. And we go to this amazing restaurant. We sit by a fire and he ordered like 4 appetizers, which let me tell you something. I'm not going to go into this dating game again. I'm not. But if you want to speak into my love language, order a couple of appetizers and a bottle of wine. And what you're really saying to me is, we're going to be here a minute. We're going to chat.
Yeah.
We're going to have some real yummy food and we're going to drink good wine. There is not a whole lot better than that. Like if I was on a beach, maybe, but we're in Kansas City, so that doesn't happen. But it was so kind.
Yeah.
So we drank 2 bottles of wine at the restaurant. Okay.
How long?
And we were there for like 4 hours. Broke every rule after that. And I said, hey, you want to know something fun about my life? I have a fire pit on my deck. Would you like to go to my house? Yeah. So,
broken rule number 2.
I broke every rule. Nobody knew where I was. No, I mean, no code words, nothing. I was like, you know what? I'm a big girl. I'll do what I want. Tell me about your first date with Antoine.
Yeah, I know that whenever you are at your point of I don't want to do this, that's when God usually brings somebody. Because I think that's why I didn't date, because I didn't want a boyfriend. I didn't want to date. I didn't want to be involved. And I was at a work conference actually in San Antonio, Texas, which we all know my feelings about Texas. Yep. And specifically San Antonio. So right. I had avoided the city like the plague for 5 years because
I actually remember us talking about it and you weren't going to go. That was one of your first thoughts, was you weren't going to go.
So even me going to there was a story in itself, because it was probably 3 months before that. I had told my boss, like, no, I am not going to San Antonio. It wasn't like, what do you think? Leave me your opinion. What should I do? It was, I am not going to San Antonio. And I told him why. And so he knew the story. Like, he knew why. But yet people in my life, they know how I operate, where it's, you challenge me in a way. Because I need to grow, or because I need to heal, or because I need to improve. And that just eats at me in a way that I can't ignore it. And so I had a dream, and this dream was very vivid, and I still remember everything in detail. And this dream was essentially, I went there to San Antonio, I went on the Riverwalk, I was in River City Mall, and I met up with a couple of the women, actually, that my previous husband had been unfaithful with. And the first dream was I was a debacle, and I fell apart, and I woke up and I was like, what in the world? That's weird. I didn't think anything of it. I just kind of like brushed it aside and moved on. 2 weeks later, I had the exact same dream. But this time in this scenario, I walked up to them. I told them I knew who they were, what they did, and I forgave them. And then later on that night, they ended up becoming a believer. They actually accepted Jesus as their Lord and Savior, because I verbalized that I forgave them. And when I woke up from that one, I told my boss at that time, and he's like, yeah, you're going. And so that's why I went. I wasn't going before, but it was because of those two dreams that I couldn't dismiss. So I went to San Antonio, and I was like hating every single minute of it. It was a conference that lasted for 4 days. And the first 2 days was just really hard for me, was very miserable for me. And I had a couple of mutual friends that I met up with. One was from LA, one was from Chicago. And they were there for me. My team, even from the Pacific Northwest, was there for me, because everybody knew kind of the situation that I was in. Everybody was sharing, like, their fun times, their good times at the conference. And I was like, I know I'm not usually a Debbie Downer, but this is just really hell on earth for me. And I told them why. And so it was their whole initiative, their whole goal was to make this better for me and to establish new memories. And so one night we went out to a piano bar on the Riverwalk, and we were just having a good time. And we were all, there's like 12 of us, and we were all sitting at a table. Well, my buddy, who he saw Antoine and I interacting before, and I was never under the assumption of anything with Antoine, because I wanted nothing to do with a man in San Antonio. But Antoine was interested in me, and I didn't know that at first. And so RJ is his name. RJ, he was sitting next to me. He got up and he ran back. He ran back to the hotel to get Antoine, and was like, hey, bro, you need to come with me. We're all hanging out. Just come, chill, sit with us. So he gets up. Antoine and him come then, and they join us. So Antoine's sitting then next to me, where was RJ was sitting. And so he starts asking everybody, because Antoine's this huge personality, big smile, big charmer, extremely outgoing. So he's asking everybody, like, where you're from, who you're with, like, are you dating, are you married, whatever, because he wanted. And then he asks me next, and obviously I'm single, so he's like, well, that was really the first time that it was like an aha moment. It's like, wait a minute, he actually is kind of into me, because there's another subset of this. It's like, I didn't know that he was interested in a white woman, and he didn't know if I was interested in a black man. And so not only it was not only, do you like me as a person, but it was like, are you interested in my race? So there's like double whammy with that.
Sure.
The last night before we were getting ready to leave, he wanted to go on a walk along the Riverwalk. It was midnight. I'm ready to go to bed. And I'm like, should I go? I'm talking to my roommate, who was our mutual friend at the time. And she's like, hey, you do what you want to do. I don't know. And I'm like, well, I told her where I was going, so she knew. There's that.
Good job.
So we went for a walk around the Riverwalk for 3 hours. We were walking for 3 hours. And in this time, that's where I told him, because I'm like, hey, like, I have nothing to lose. I told him my entire story. I told him I actually lived in San Antonio. I told him, like, I hate this place. I didn't want to come here, blah, blah, blah. But he's like, I'm really into you. And I started laughing. He said he wanted to pursue me, and I started laughing in his face. And he was kind of taken back and kind of like, hurt by that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean to laugh at you. Like, I'm not laughing at you. But what I heard very calmly and very gently in my spirit is the same place that a guy shattered your heart is the same place that I'm going to give you a new one. And I knew that was from the Lord at the time, because if I didn't have that massive revelation that I could not dismiss for the next 2 years and on with Antoine, I would have walked away so many times because it was just too hard. But I felt like it was almost like it was my duty to continue and pursue with him, because I just felt like he was really for me. And a story where you meet in the exact place that, you know, your last marriage ended was, and you weren't even supposed to go there initially at the first time. So that whole entire thing was our first date. Like, that whole conference, that whole time together was our first date. And then I totally broke the rules, and he flew up to Seattle right from San Antonio. And we hung out there, and I would never tell anybody to do that, but it was great. Like, because I knew, like, mutual people, and they trusted him, and he was a great guy. And so I'm like, okay, come on up. We'll hang out. We'll get to know each other, you know? And so we did that for the next weekend. He was in Seattle with me.
I think there's something about also, like, you have to have this freedom to enjoy it also. Yeah. Like, you could be like, I don't really want to do this, but there's this other part of you that's like, oh my gosh, it feels so great. You're caught up in it. Like, all of those emotions are so good. Yeah. And so, like, embrace it and just do it, you know? Yes. So the rules are there. They're there. And then, you know, I mean, again, don't put yourself in danger, but enjoy with a good head on your shoulders. I love it. Okay, Shauna, so on every Little Did I Know podcast, 9 Deep, which I'm so proud of us, we're doing a great job. We talk about where are you winning and where are you losing for the week. So tell me your wins and losses for this week.
My wins this week was that my mom and my dad got to come out to Seattle. Now that my mom is retired and my dad is also kind of retired, he still has a little side job, they can come out more frequently if their finances allow. So they found a cheap flight, had a wonderful time with it, just to reconnect, have people to engage with on the regular.
I love
it. But the
it.
best part about it, the most specific win of it all, was that we went down, because we always go down to Pike's Place Market, we buy fish, then we go cook it that night. Like, that's our thing. So when we're down at Pike's Place Market, lo and behold, if there weren't pig races with piggies down at the market.
What does that mean? Like,
they literally had little piggies in a race, and then they had these 3 women dressed up in these massive pig costumes, and they're like, we're the 3 little pigs. So I asked to get a picture with them. We got a picture with 2 of the pigs. We're like, hey, where's the other one? She goes, I don't know, I think she ran home. And I just like, it was such a great week. It was such beautiful weather. It was a great week. Where I'm winning, or excuse me, where I'm losing actually, and I'll say this loosely because this isn't really a loss, but it's just kind of maybe where I'm struggling a little bit, is praising God very much for Antoine's firefighting job. This all just kind of goes around marriage, where every new phase is a different transition. So this month in particular, he has the firefighting academy that starts while he's overlapped with his EMT class. Okay. So he's leaving at 5 a.m. and doesn't get home until 10 with both of those classes on a couple of days, plus Saturday, plus you have your reading when you're... So it's just like, it's a difficult time for both of us. One, for him, obviously, because he's doing all that. And then for me, of, like, where do I fit into that type thing? Yeah. So it's just a new transition. It's a new situation that we have to work through, which is, it's a great transition. It's just hard is all. Okay.
And that's fair. Yeah. Like, that is. And I think, you know, when you're still in the first stages of all of it, like, one thing that you know you have is transition.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, you know what's coming. But how about you?
Nah.
Tell me your wins and your losses for the week.
Okay, so my win came as a surprise.
Oh.
Thomas got to come home on Thursday night last week, which was so great. So we went to the gym together. And
nice.
it's fine. I really would rather go to the gym by myself.
That took a turn. It was a win, but not really a good win.
When we first started going to the gym, I would tell him at the door, I would say, we are now strangers. Do not talk to me. Do not look at me until we are finished. We will walk out together, but we are strangers here. And he was like, okay, babe. So, oh no, we have crossed all kinds of lines. He ran right beside me on the treadmill. So we're running and talking. It's fine.
You're like, wait, I have my friends. They're in my earbuds.
I know. I was like, you're killing my thing. So, so I'm going to tell you, my loss in this is this blasted winter that will not release its grip on the Midwest. Like, it is terrible. I can't even tell you how terrible. And I said when I was at the beach last weekend, I'm not going to be mad. It is what it is. No, I lied. I'm mad. I don't like it. I'm over it. So cold weather and just some other things where I found myself getting more irritable by the minute.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Like, your husband's home. You're at the gym. You get the whole day with him. Like get it together. Yeah. And I was like, so he was over, I do my weights, he does his weights, and he was still finishing up. And I was like, you know what? I go to Planet Fitness. I've been going to Planet Fitness for over a year, but I am such a creature of habit. Like, I park in the same spot. I pretty much am on the same treadmill. Like, I do my thing. And I have never used the Black Card Spa part that they have. I didn't care. It's like no big deal to me. And I was like, wait a minute. I've heard some fun things about this. So I went and asked the fella, and I said, hey, tell me, he goes, you have had a Black Card for this song and you've never used it? And I said, no, tell me about it. There are heated hydro massage beds and loungers.
What?
You
never used them? Oh,
No.
A life changer. That's a game changer right there.
Yeah. I sat in it by myself 10 minutes, got a massage. It was warm. It was beautiful. Do you want to know what? I wasn't mad when I left. Not at all.
You seem to be getting that thing every day.
I know. I did it today.
Good for you.
I know.
I could tell you're glowing.
Thank you. So that's my win. And the loss again, Kansas City weather. Yeah. It's just
part of it.
Terrible.
I'm sorry for you.
That's okay. It's actually not okay. like it's really 100% not okay, but there's not anything I can do about it. So
sure
is what it is. Okay. So Shauna, you know what? We wouldn't be little did I know if I didn't ask you this question.
We wouldn't.
So how would you wrap up the sentence? Little did I know.
Little did I know. I think this week more than any week. I know we've communicated about this on the regular, but little did I know the impact that our first series would have on people in a depth and a magnitude I didn't really expect, I think. And I'm beyond humbled and grateful for that, and to have the platform in this space to speak on hard topics, but topics that need to be heard from our experience, and even topics like this today, to be honest with you. Like, we kind of laugh and giggle, and it's probably like taboo stuff. It's like, oh, do you dare talk about sexting? Do you dare talk about taking nude pics? The entire world is dealing with it and going through it and thinks about it, or has people that are entangled in it, like whatever it might be. I just feel honored to do this in this space with you, to help people that it really touches to the core of where they are hurting and at the point of wanting to end it all. And so little did I know, I think, the impact of this podcast that we're doing.
Well, I'm going to jump in and just write and agree with everything that you said, because I had a friend reach out to me and just express some truths about where she was, and asked me to pray for her, and then told me what an encouragement my voice was to her through this podcast. And I know we have used the words lighthearted. I see them in my notes. All of these things. And I think that my first thought of what we were going to do was going to be very lighthearted. And that's just who we are, and that's how our friendship is. But the magnitude and the responsibility of what we are doing, that's the word that keeps coming to me, is we have a responsibility when you have a voice and a so-called, platform or whatever. But that this really is more than just a lighthearted conversation.
Yeah. That
it has depth and meaning, and I think it goes farther and wider than what I was thinking it ever would, and it goes way deeper. I am Stephanie Parks. You can find me on Instagram at Steph K. Parks, on Facebook at Stephanie Parks, and on my website at stephkparks.com.
And I am Shauna Zolman Mihaly, and you can find me there on Facebook and Instagram. And oh my goodness, please keep the comments, the ratings, the subscriptions, the reviews, keep all of that coming. We love hearing your feedback. Continue to let us know your thoughts and your opinions on social media, and share it so that other people can get the word out. We're really trying to build this thing, and we need your help in order to do that. Again, our website is www.stephandshauna.com. That is STEPH and SHANNA.com.